Ravens flock, what's going on? It is 4:07 in the late afternoon hours, I guess you could say, on Friday, August 30th. Happy Labor Day weekend. Perhaps you guys are already off and rolling. My summer's over. It's a business week. It's a business weekend, and we are just 6 days out from the start of the 2024-2025 NFL regular season. The Ravens will face off against the Kansas City Chiefs, and what you know is a rematch of last year's AFC title game. Today's live stream is brought to you by the Bobby Baltimore 24/7 Discord server. It is a 24/7 hub for conversations surrounding Baltimore sports. It is free to join, and here's a little look of how we do things. First of all, you get a welcome, and you can see we've got over 500 members in here. We've got an announcements category, posts. When I tweet, you'll get notified of it. There's a general chat, which has been talking about, unfortunately, just a tragic day in the hockey community with the passing of not only Johnny Gaudreau, but his younger brother, Michael. It's been absolutely horrific. And I should say Matthew Gaudreau. But we talk Ravens football, of course, in here as well. Orioles baseball out on the West Coast, of course, right now, and a number of other areas right now. The live chat, I shouldn't say the live chat, the description of this video has a free link to join, and would love for you to get involved this football season. Lots to get to today, including the great news the Ravens just received, which was this. Earlier today at practice, we saw that Mark Andrews was back out there for the first time since his car accident. Rasheen Ali also returned, the rookie running back out of Marshall, as did Kyle Hamilton. Needs no introduction. Tyler Linderbaum was also out there yet again in a red jersey, which is a non-contact jersey. And the missing Ravens from practice, Adisa Isaac, the rookie outside linebacker out of Penn State, Eddie Jackson, who just simply missed a flight, and Patrick McCary, who probably, hopefully for his sake, was just a rest day. John Harbaugh referred to that as just a standard procedure. So the big news is here, and the great news ahead of the rematch is that number 89 returned. He was dealing with something minor, according to several different reports. So it was not car crash related. Now, he was lucky to walk away unscathed, and he talked about that during the press conference earlier today. But here he is. He says his body feels good. He referred to it as a scary moment. I'm moving forward. I feel really good. He says he's grateful, thankful for seatbelts, feels good, and of course is looking forward to week one. Mark seemed as dialed and as serious in as you could possibly be. I've noticed that about his body language, I would say, probably over the last year or so. Now, obviously, you get to slow down a little bit. You have to slow down a little bit after a car crash kind of rocks your world a little bit. So hopefully he's not feeling the mental effects in the aftermath of that anymore. Hopefully that roller coaster is over and he can now focus on what's most important to him, and that is doing whatever possible to beat the Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday Night Football at their place inside Arrowhead Stadium. So again, great news for Mark. He'd been banged up in recent weeks. This was not related to the car accident. He didn't really want to talk much about that when reporters followed up with him. And so if Mark Andrews is ready to move forward, well, we are as well. Bo Braid, for the first time since making the 53-man roster, the undrafted rookie safety out of Maryland, spoke with reporters and shared that EDC approached him on Monday in Green Bay and told him he made the team. He later told his parents. They got emotional. They cried. He referred to it as a dream come true. Of course, he played his college football, like I mentioned, in College Park. And at high school, the River Hill standout grew up a Ravens fan. What an awesome story this is, not just for Bo, but the local football community. And how about this? We've got some breaking Ravens news. Breaking Ravens news is that Tyler Huntley is headed back to Baltimore. Jordan Schultz says that Tyler Huntley, after being released just yesterday by the Cleveland Browns, is signing with the Ravens. Does he now have a front runner opportunity to beat out Josh Johnson and be the primary backup to Lamar? Well, let's pivot, guys, because Tyler Huntley has just been signed back to the Ravens. Time to shift some things around. We're going to start doing this on the fly. Let's do it right now. This is the beauty of when you're live and you don't have a co-host. So bear with me here. I'm going to get the slide up on the screen for you. We're going to do some multitasking in real time because a former Raven and a former undrafted rookie out of Utah who's spent the last several years in Baltimore, they decided to move on with him. He then signed with the Cleveland Browns. They had two packed of a quarterback room, and Tyler Huntley, as a result, after being released just over 24 hours ago, is heading back to Baltimore. I really didn't feel like this was a move that they were going to make, but yet here we are. Snoop is coming back to Baltimore. I'm sure they'll throw him on the practice squad initially. We'll see if they go with Josh Johnson still right out of the gate in terms of the primary backup for Lamar 6 days from now. But Snoop is back in the building. There will probably be a corresponding move on the practice squad because they signed their 16th man earlier today. But Tyler Huntley coming back to Baltimore. Justice asks, you think he's going to take Josh Johnson's backup spot? I wouldn't be surprised. Now, I said earlier today on the show, on our Ravens lunch hour live stream, that I felt like the differences between he and Josh Johnson were not all that significant. Would I feel more comfortable with Snoop out there than JJ at this point in his career as a 37-year-old? Yes, I would feel more comfortable with Snoop. But I didn't feel like it was all that significant of a difference. Well, the Ravens felt otherwise. Perhaps they're telling you how they feel about their practice squad quarterback in Devin Leary, and they plan on keeping Josh Johnson on the 53 as Lamar's primary backup. Or they want Snoop back up, and they feel like they can do better. But again, the breaking news that's just come down the timeline here is that Tyler Huntley is back in Baltimore. That's according to Jordan Schultz. Tanya is fired up about this. I remember you saying this earlier today, Tanya. Let's go. Snoop is back with your guys. Well, what a strange offseason it was for Tyler, huh? Bradford says that Snoop has to immediately come in and be the number 2. Justin says Pro Bowl Snoop is back. He was a former Pro Bowler. That's for sure. Joel is fired up about it. Christina's like, are you serious? Samuel says go Ravens. Lance says Snoop. And my, oh my. Baltimore's former undrafted rookie is back in Baltimore. Let's take some calls from you. Why not? Let's open up the guest lines for this breaking news. Join the show. Let me know what you think. Because Tyler Huntley is back in Baltimore as of less than 10 minutes ago. Jordan Schultz of The Score reporting that Snoop is expected to sign with the Ravens. Of course, a reunion alongside his South Floridian brother, Lamar Jackson. Kieran says they're getting the band back together. Canton says good, get rid of Josh Johnson. And we'll see what the Ravens' immediate plans are. Is 6 days enough to bring Tyler up and Josh down? Don't be surprised if Snoop hangs on the practice squad, at least for the initial going. But clearly the Ravens felt like they wanted to upgrade, or at least get another body in the building that there's a certain level of trust for. I didn't see this coming. Like I said earlier today, I literally just said this during the noon hour when I had Ingraven on. I was like, I feel like the Ravens know what they have in Tyler. And I didn't feel like there was enough of a difference in terms of what he can give you on a daily basis or in a pinch or an emergency base scenario. I didn't feel like it was all that different or that much better than Josh Johnson. But clearly the team feels differently. Monica weighing in. Let's go, Snoop. Lamar has to be excited. The Florida boys are jumping. Yeah, for sure. You'd have to think that they're all fired up about this. Lance weighing in. Our QB3, wide receiver 5, Malik Cunningham, is on the practice squad too. Backup QB is no longer a problem. Well, Malik, I'm pretty sure this is now 2 organizations that Malik's been looked at as solely a wide receiver. New England and Baltimore have pretty much told you how they feel about him as an NFL quarterback. That's true, James. QB3 is no longer a problem. They may still feel like Josh earned the right to be the primary backup here in the early going. And like I mentioned, that may result in Snoop hanging out on the practice squad for a while. But at the very least, you get the guy in the building, you pad your quarterback room a little bit, because let's be clear, you hope that QB3 doesn't serve a primary role or really any role whatsoever besides scout team work and other different roles that the backup quarterbacks have to do throughout any calendar season. But I think we can all feel a little bit more comfortable about the depth in this room, given how unready Devin Leary looked throughout the preseason, right? And I think that's a fair statement. Manuel says Snoop makes the boys happy. Snoop back makes the boys happy. Steven says awesome sauce, let's go. Kevin Roberts rejoicing. Joel says, I wouldn't say it's not a problem because just a few months ago, you guys were saying we needed to get rid of Snoop. That's why we left in the first place. Snoop or sleep? Well, I still think that, look, Ryan Tannehill would be an upgrade over anybody that you have in this room aside from Lamar. That doesn't change this. It just makes you feel better about what they have outside of Josh Johnson. Now, some of you prefer Snoop over JJ. Colin's one of them. I can't blame you. I just kind of felt like the Ravens were like, we feel like we've maxed out. We've gotten Snoop to where we felt like he could be, and we have a good understanding of what he is at this point in his career. But again, this could very well be, hey, we're riding with Josh right now for Lamar's primary backup, and we want somebody, QB3, in charge of this practice squad that we have a certain trust level with. That's what this could be about. We may not see him up at the 53. This could very well be about padding your practice squad, ensuring that those guys are developing, right, with a guy who does have a decent sample size of NFL starts under his belt, all things considered. John Jay reminding me that he's wanted Tyler Huntley back this entire time. Kieran says, is a week enough time to get him reacclimated and get him on the 53? Well, if I had to guess, he's going to spend the next week, one, traveling back and settling back into Baltimore after spending the summer in Cleveland. And two, you would think diving right into work with the practice squad. I mean, this team has practice this weekend, or at least a walkthrough. So if I had to guess, and here's more from Jordan Schultz. Tyler is en route to the Ravens facility and will sign shortly, according to Jordan. Snoop was both a fan and locker room favorite during his previous tenure with Baltimore. And after a brief tenure with AFC North foe Cleveland, he is back in the DMV. And indeed, the Ravens are re-signing Snoop to their practice squad. They had an open spot, which is news to me because I had thought earlier today with the international signing that they made that completed their 16-man practice squad. So we'll have to ask Jeff specifically what the numbers are there. But Snoop now is being re-signed to Baltimore's practice squad. It's not just Jordan Schultz. Jeff Zaribek is in on this as well. Your live reaction is flowing in as we speak. And what's funny about this, as you can see in the thumbnail and the title of this, I said the Ravens received great news, and that doesn't even have to do with this. That's about Mark Andrews returning to practice, saying he is in good shape and ready to roll after not only a car accident, but a minor setback. So I guess we got a twofold great news late afternoon Friday entering Labor Day weekend. How about that? Jeremy says that he feels better about the QB depth right now. Now it's all about the O-line. Adrian, yeah, bring my dog Huntley back. That's who can definitely back up Lamar and Josh. Denise says, welcome back, Snoop. This is your family, bro. Colin, my only problem with Snoop was he wasn't able to go through his progressions properly. He was more of a first read passer, but he is definitely more athletic than Josh Johnson. I don't think any of us can disagree with that. The age difference, first and foremost, is significant. Wow. A late afternoon Friday news dump just when you thought that we were all chilling going into Labor Day weekend. The Ravens bring back Tyler Huntley. That's right, Jeremiah. You go from needing two different systems, God forbid, if Josh were to be thrust into playing, to now, hey, we can run something similar. He's not the same quarterback, but stylistically, schematically, you can run some of the same stuff. Not all the same stuff, but some of it. Yeah, I would guess that Snoop's going to be up and running. Jordan Schultz just noting a short while ago here, he is en route to the facility and is going to sign shortly. Jeff adding that it is a practice squad re-signing. Happy late Friday afternoon. Would love your live reaction to this. Tyler Huntley back in Baltimore. You can click on the link that I have included in the show notes. I'm sorry, in the live chat, and offer your thoughts on what's been a pretty big topic of conversation this offseason, and that is the primary backup to Lamar. Did the Ravens get this right? And how quickly will they start to move? Sidarian says, couldn't trust Leary running the scout team. That's very well what this could be. That could be, hey, we need Devin. We need more time. We need him. There's a lot more development that he needs, and it's going too fast for him, and his processing speed is off. And we want Snoop running the scout team. We want Snoop leading the charge with the practice squad. But as of right now, unless there's been a corresponding move, Devin Leary is still a part of the practice squad. Bradford says, on the radio, they were talking about EDC, saying we need to get cap compliant. And then I walked inside to the Snoop news. Well, that's true, though. They do need to become cap compliant, and they will before week one. They're going to do so via restructures, I would think. Some of their more lucrative contracts. Adit was referencing something I mentioned a second ago here, the international program. Cool way to grow the game. The Angels just called up their first ever Italian-born player in Major League Baseball. Great seeing sports embracing international players. Certainly echo those thoughts. And what I was referencing was I thought earlier today a Nigerian player actually rounded out the Ravens 16-man practice squad. And to be honest with you, I actually forgot to add that in to today's live stream. So let me see if I can actually pull this thing up. Because it was the last slide, and because I had Ing on and we went a little bit late, I just forgotten to get to it. But here it is. Let's go big screen here. Wait a second here. Let's do some shifting. So Deo Odeleye, according to Aaron Wilson, NFL reporter, is signing with the Ravens. And then as Jeff noted, formerly with Houston, he's Nigerian born, so he would slot into the international player slot on the Ravens practice squad. Aha, excuse me. Here's where I misspoke. That allows your practice squad to grow to 17. The Ravens still have an opening to add another player. Okay. So now we're up to speed with the international player in Deo joining the ranks earlier today. That opened up one more spot. So they went from 16. Tyler Huntley becomes the 17th. He's one of two quarterbacks now on this roster in terms of the practice squad, and the other being Devin Leary. So now we're fully up to speed. Snoop is on the practice squad. He's en route to the facility. He's going to sign. I imagine they're still going to stick with Josh as the primary backup for week one, but we will see moving forward, and perhaps there'll be an open competition depending on how things shake out for that primary backup role. Let's open up the guest lines. Breaking news type of late afternoon Friday here. Tyler Huntley is coming back to Baltimore. And my friend Manuel down in Mexico City wants to talk about it. So let's get your live reaction. The live chat and the guest lines are officially open. Happy Friday to you. Who says it's Labor Day weekend and a holiday? Because I'm working, baby. I'm working.
Hey, when you work independently, it's 24/7, 365.
Precisely. Your first reaction to this news was what?
I was here for the Mandrews, but now with the news of Snoop coming back, I feel like here's my perspective on this. I think Tyler wanted to go, open market and said no to the Ravens on coming back. Hey, let me test the market, see who grabs me if I can be an NFL starter or at least a QB2 because I've started in the league. I started a playoff game. Yes, I had that horrific decision, at the goal line. But hey, he was playing decent up until that point. He was playing decently enough to actually merit that win. But that was a catastrophic
Yes.
decision from his part that cost us not only the game, I think it only showcased that he needs more maturity, you know, on that
Yeah.
sense. It's like, hey, it's 2 yards. You don't jump unless you're literally millimeters uh, from the goal line. So I think it's just more so like, hey, we bring you back. You already have chemistry. You already know the playbook. You're much younger than Josh Johnson, obviously. Uh, is he an upgrade? Yeah, kind of, but and I understand about bringing Brian Tannehill, but one thing is money.
Oh, he'll
How
cost a
much it?
lot more than he's going to cost a lot more than this. And remember, like somebody's pointed out a minute ago, they got to become cap compliant before the season begins. And so bringing in Tannehill would mean probably a lot more restructures than maybe they're willing to do or want to do. So
Yep,
they already need to do restructures. And this was prior to the Snoop move. I'm not saying this was a lucrative move by any stretch of the imagination, but it's the more economical one, of course, when you compare him to somebody who started pretty much throughout his entire career in Ryan Tannehill. So, when you got a quarterback on a mega deal, we talk about this a lot. This is the type of sort of money pinching or pinching pennies that sometimes you have to do. And especially when you need to allocate resources for other areas, including potentially being ready for a
yep,
trade at some point before the deadline, which we all know that Eric's going to make sure that money's allocated.
yeah. I mean, we got um, it's Lamar. We won Lamar. Snoop is Lamar at home, and Josh Johnson is our Snoop at home, in that sense of a way.
Yeah,
If
fair.
you look at it, yeah. I mean, if if we had the cap space, I bet we don't go for Josh Johnson or Snoop. We get Flacco back. Why? Because that hear me out. You know why? Because Flacco may not run, but we forget sometimes that the bootleg, he could sell that bootleg that they're trying to implement in this system. He sold it so well with us. And he doesn't run. I
He
mean,
ain't
how
running
can
for
you
shit. We
explain
know
that?
that.
Yeah, but how can you explain a QB that doesn't run can sell the bootleg so well?
Listen, we got some folks tuning in here. We got over 400 joining us. I didn't really expect this to be quite honest with you. This is the time of year, right? It's football season is back in,
Yep.
and I'm back to doing daily live streaming. I know I got away from that a little bit in the off season. It was mostly just kind of to recharge, reboot, do all that stuff. But it's funny. You go into a late Friday afternoon, and you're thinking to yourself, all right, I'm going to go do a quick little 40-minute live stream. Probably won't be a well attended. Now we got over 400 joining us right now concurrently because
Right.
Snoop is back in Baltimore. So thank you for dropping by, my friend. I appreciate all your support. You're the best. I hope to do it again soon with you.
Hey, thank you for having me, Bobby. See you later.
Absolutely. Manuel from Mexico City, part of the out of town Ravens flock. Appreciate you for dropping by. So remember, just to be clear here, because I messed this up earlier on and I want to be really clear. There was one extra spot on the practice squad. It's a 16-man practice squad, but if you embrace an international player, that's deserving of a slot. And so here he is. This came in earlier today from Aaron Wilson. Deo Odeleye, and to be honest with you, I might be botching the last name. I looked for a bunch of different pronunciations and couldn't find a good one. So let's go with Deo. But Deo is signing with the Ravens, and as of earlier today, they had one spot open. 16 of the 17 slots were taken. And obviously there's a sense of urgency to grow the international game. Really cool like movement here. So as of earlier, they had an opening to add another player, which is now Tyler Huntley. That's where we're at. What'd you guys think of Manuel's thoughts on Joe Flacco being back in Baltimore? Wouldn't that be something? Certainly one of the more serviceable backups that are out there. I think of him. I think of Jameis Winston. I think of Carson Wentz, although we don't have a great idea of how much he has left in the tank at this point. And we probably won't see him at all, being that he's backing up today's version of Tom Brady in Patrick Mahomes. But here you have it. Tyler Huntley is coming back to Baltimore. He will re-sign to the Ravens practice squad. And that's the latest there. Speaking of the Chiefs, this news came out earlier today. And we'll get to Bo Braid in just a second. And how about this? There's a lot of live things happening right now in real time. And I'm giving it to you all just straight up in real time right now. I just heard back from Bo's agent. Hey, Bobby. Just spoke with Bo, and he would love to be a guest on the vault. Okay. Bo Braid, come on in. Come on inside the vault. That will be coming up to a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream near you in the near future. But this is what I wanted to talk about a little bit. One less playmaker for Bo Braid and the Ravens defense to account for. Andy Reid told reporters today that Marquise Hollywood-Brown, former Ravens wide receiver, he was their free agency acquisition, one of many this offseason in Kansas City, is not going to play Thursday night. And remember, as of earlier this month, he was expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks with actually a very serious injury, a sternoclavicular injury. So he's going to miss at least week one. One less playmaker the Ravens secondary is going to have to account for. And remember, for all of you talking revenge, reunion, all kinds of whatnot chatter, it's already happened when he was a member of the Arizona Cardinals. So no Marquise Hollywood-Brown. And remember, because Rashee Rice and his ongoing investigation is still a thing, the NFL hasn't thrown any discipline out there. They're waiting for the investigation to wrap up. And because of that, expect to see Rashee Rice unless this investigation gets closed and wrapped prior to the game, and then the NFL quickly turns around and assesses and evaluates what the punishment should be. He will be out there. So Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, Mahomes, and everybody else they throw out there and deploy, he'll be there. Believe me, I think it's just as ridiculous as you do that it's all on the investigation. right? The NFL is essentially a prisoner of the moment to the investigation. But that's their policy, and that's what they're going to go with. Let's talk about Bo Braid, shall we? What a preseason for number 6. He'll now be wearing number 24, last worn by Pepe Williams. 46 coverage snaps, just 22 yards allowed, a passer rating allowed of 40.2, 7 run stops, 2 tackles for loss, and an opportunity to make the 53-man roster as an undrafted rookie out of Maryland. Congratulations, Bo. I'm excited about this. 20 of the last 21 years, the Ravens have had at least one undrafted rookie crack their 53-man roster. They say they don't acknowledge the streak. They say it doesn't mean anything to them, but that's pretty darn impressive. And a testament to what they have in their scouting department and personnel groupings. Because Bo flat out played. And now he's going to get a shot to be a part of this secondary. He's going to get a shot to showcase himself on special teams. And as he mentioned, just within the last hour or so with reporters, he said that EDC approached him during Monday's practice in Green Bay, told him he made the team. He went out to tell his parents, and because they're locals, he went to River Hill, then to Maryland, played all of his college football here locally, referred to it as a dream come true, and when he told his parents, they cried. God, I love these types of stories. And go back and listen to that press conference if you haven't already done so. Bo is well-spoken, composed, just a likable guy. Can't wait to see what becomes of him. Truth Teller 1 says that that former number 24 number, Pepe Williams. Pepe tried out for the Giants yesterday. I hadn't seen that. Truth Teller 1 says, I guess he doesn't want to come back here because he's bitter, mad, disappointed. Well, he wants to try and make a 53-man roster. Can you blame him? And that's a tough shake, especially when you get beaten out by Jalen Armour-Davis, your former draft classmate at that position, and your 4th rounder with him. How about the commitment from New Zealanders within the Ravens flock? James, you got to give you some love, man. It's going to be 12:30 p.m. Friday for me, and I'm just going to work the morning. Ha! I kind of love that time difference for you. Yes, Christina, Jadeveon did wear number 24 last year, right? Did he? Am I having selective memory? Let's take a close look. I was too focused on what his stats were last year. 9.5 sacks, a ton of pressures. What a fit he was. And now it's up to the Ravens to try and figure out how they replace him. Yeah, he wore number 24 last year. Pepe was wearing it this summer. What else we got here? Shall we take our first look at a Ravens-Chiefs breakdown courtesy of former NFL lineman and NFL analyst Brian Baldinger? I think so. Here we go.
6 months have gone by since this game. With 2:47 to go in the second quarter, and the Chiefs up 14-7, the Ravens had 1st and 10. All right, let's just play this nasty, horrible game of what if. What if the Ravens handle these 3 plays a lot better than they do? On 1st and 10 right here, Lamar gets the ball to his tight end, Isaiah Likely. He keeps it in bounds, and he picks up 6 yards, and the clock runs down to the 2-minute warning. All right, now, both teams have all their timeouts. This is the most critical play right here. They should have run it. They should have run it right here and at least made the Chiefs use their timeouts. Even if they don't pick up the 1st down, the Chiefs make them use their timeouts. They don't. Instead, they take a low percentage play right here, the spray fade to Nelson Aguilar. I mean, it's a low percentage throw to begin with, and it takes 4 seconds off the clock, and now you're 3rd and 4 with 1:56 to go. Still, it's a better situation to run it right there on 3rd and 4 and take time off the clock or make the Chiefs use their timeouts. Instead, you sail the ball over Justice Hill's head. And the Chiefs don't have to use any timeouts. They get the ball back and go the length of the field and kick a field goal before the half to go up 17-7. Those three plays were critical in determining the outcome of this AFC Championship game.
Well, I hate to beat a dead horse because you're going to hear a lot about the AFC Championship game, but those few plays right there, that just is backbreaking stuff. And make no mistake about it, there was a multitude of reasons that went into this loss right in January last year. And again, we're going to have to relive it a number of times that night because let's be honest, it's a nationally televised show and or a nationally televised game, and they have they have a commitment, they have a duty to serve, and that is educating the fan bases that will inevitably be tuning in since it's the opening night of the year that are outside of Baltimore and Kansas City. So just be ready for that. But we all also understand that there was some coaching malpractice that took place. There was a fair share of lack of execution on the field, but there was some coaching malpractice, and I think both things can be true in terms of what led to the results. So, by the way, in some wide receiver news, this just came out a short while ago here from Ian Rappaport that Michael Thomas, who's one of the lone free agent wide receivers still available, former New Orleans Saint, and I know a lot of you have been kind of clamoring for him. He is suspended week 1 for a violation of NFL rules. Looks like it's personal conduct policy related to an incident with a construction worker from last fall. So just to be clear, Michael Thomas would not be available week 1. Not sure how much that actually matters, but that just came out here within the last 10 minutes or so. Chris says, why are you hurting us like that on a holiday Friday? It hurt to watch for the first time. Oh, the first time. Yeah, there's been a whole lot more since the first time. I know. I'm sorry to do that to you. I'm trying to prepare you for next week because you're going to hear a lot that you don't want to. Just be ready for it. Hey, Craig Morton just signed up to become one of my newest patrons, and I appreciate him, along with all my other. I almost have 100 patrons who are supporting me as loyal subscribers, and I appreciate them. Again, this is something that you can do for as little as $1.99. The monthly shout out on the channel level tier is $4.99. That's what Craig has signed up for, and it means a lot that you guys take the time and the energy and the commitment to me to support the channel. It goes a long way when you're doing daily content, and it certainly doesn't go unnoticed. So patreon.com/Bobby Trosset is where you can find more information. If you're a small business owner as well, there's a tier for you. And again, there's a bunch of different levels. All that can be found in the show notes below. Tank, appreciate the love. Thank you very much. And so, when an impromptu, not really impromptu, but when a standard live stream on a Friday afternoon turns into actually a pretty well attended live stream. Got to love that going into a holiday weekend. Tyler Huntley is back in Baltimore. We've gotten your reaction. I've given you mine. I was pretty surprised. Be sure to connect with me on social, Instagram and Twitter at Bobby Baltimore if you haven't already done so. I'm going to be live throughout the weekend. So let's go. I'm back in business mode. Romy Raven says that she's going to miss my mom's backyard. You'll see it now for the next couple of weeks. I'm not going back down to Baltimore until the week of the 12th. September 12th. I got to officiate a wedding that weekend, the night before the Ravens home opener, and then I'll be back down there for all my pregame show duties. Justin wants to know if I'm concerned about Linderbaum. I think he's on track. He's country tough. He's Iowa tough. I expect him to be ready to go week 1. He's been out there a couple days with a red non-contact jersey, as I mentioned earlier on. Dre Dog says he loves Snoop, but he didn't win enough for me. I get it. I think he's going to be your practice squad guy for now. Evan, thanks for the love, man. I'm coming up on 22,000 subscriptions on my personal channel. The Vault, if I'm not mistaken, is coming up on 18,000. Over 500 and counting in the Discord group. 10,000 plus and counting on Instagram. Got to get my Facebook back. Trying my damnedest to get my Facebook back. It was deactivated in December because of a community standard violation, which is crazy. I think it had to do with copyright stuff, even though I gave proper attribution. So I don't know if the NFL was involved in that. I'm not sure how that took place. I don't know if it was Ravens related, but really, really struggling to not have my Facebook back because that's been my biggest following by far for years. 5 years in the making. I had it up to 50,000. So hopefully I can get that back at some point down the line. But I appreciate you guys for being a part of this community. If you haven't already done so, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, help me get to that 22,000 number. Hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping my content. Yeah, I did. Death Row. Facebook Death Row. Not a fan. That was tough too. I loved that Facebook thing. I loved what I was growing on Facebook. I got to get back on there. To be honest with you, it's going to get to a point where I'll just have to start fresh, probably at the beginning of the season next week, if they don't reactivate it. But I've been trying every day, working as many angles as possible. So honestly, it goes without saying, if you guys know somebody that works at Meta, or maybe you work at Meta, or you have contacts that work at Meta, it could really, I don't know how much, it might be a tall task, but it would mean a lot to me if you guys could put me in contact with somebody. My email is easy to find, rftrosset@gmail.com. All that can be found on my YouTube back end. So just keep that in mind, guys. Well, with that, I'm going to go call Bo Braid's agent like right now and have a conversation about when we can get Bo on the channel. That'll be fun. Excited to get to know him a little bit. And excited for all of you. I hope you guys have a fantastic Labor Day weekend. If you don't want to donate through Patreon, some of you reach out and you're like, hey, can you please give me an update on how we can pay you one time, show our support in one-time fashion? Sure. Venmo, Cash App, YouTube Super Chat features are the way to go for those things. Again, Patreon is an awesome way it's a monthly installment commitment, whereas Venmo and Cash App obviously is just whatever you guys want to do. All right? So with that, like I said, have a fantastic weekend. It's Labor Day weekend. It's officially football season. College football is now underway, and we're 6 days out from the start of the regular season and a rematch of, yes, last year's heartbreak, but hopefully what will become a little bit of sweet, sweet revenge, even though it is just week one. So, great hanging with you guys. 43-plus minutes. Thanks to Manuel for calling in. Thanks to Ingraven for dropping in on our Ravens Lunch Hour live stream earlier this afternoon. Hope Sarah and her family are having an awesome Labor Day weekend. And keep in mind, I'm going to be streaming throughout the weekend. Maybe not Saturday, but there's press conferences on Sunday and Monday. So I'm keeping it pretty much business as usual. All right? I'll catch up with you guys soon. Thanks so much for being here.